This is Avish Parashar from SpeakingExpert.com. If you've been in the speaking business, you've probably heard about the concept of niching, which is rather than saying I can speak to anyone on anything, you pick a small, tight, focused area of expertise, and that allows you to build credibility and get better marketing and get better referrals. We've done other videos on the topic of what a niche is and why you'd want to pick one. So right now I'm going to go into one of the biggest questions people had, which is how do I niche my market? Sometimes that can seem very overwhelming. So I'm going to share 4 styles of niching that you can use and sometimes even combine, as I'll explain soon. So the first way to niche, to focus your speaking business, is by topic. You speak on a topic, but too many speakers say, well, what I do can really apply to sales and leadership and management and customer service and teamwork and whatever. That makes you too broad. You don't seem like an expert. No one's going to hire you. So pick a topic. Be an expert on sales, teamwork, change, creativity, whatever it is. You can also go smaller. You can not just be a sales expert. You can be an expert on cold calling or prospecting or using LinkedIn to find leads. Whatever it is. In many cases, the tighter the niche, the easier it is for you to be the expert and the easier it is for you to establish yourself as the go-to speaker on that topic. So that's number 1 topic. Number 2 is industry. So it's not just, you don't speak to anyone, you speak to banking or financial services or catering or events, whatever it is, technology. You pick an industry. Now, what industry you pick will often be based on what industry you came out of. If you worked in banking for 20 years, well then you've got many, many steps ahead of others in terms of positioning yourself as an expert on that industry. Sometimes you can stumble into an industry by accident. For example, I keep using banking because that's an arena I'm speaking a lot more in. I don't have a big banking background, but just from some of the work I happen to do through contacts, I'm now getting more expertise and credibility, and those organizations are starting to refer me. So pick an industry. The third way you can do it is somewhat arbitrarily. You can decide, my topic would be really good for technology. Then you have to reach out to those people. Now that can be hard in the beginning, but once you get a foothold, then you can really start spreading. So you can niche by industry as well. Number 3, you can niche by demographics. You can speak to teens, or at youth teens, or baby boomers, or Hispanics, or Asians, or whatever it is that kind of fits your market. Now the key there is that can make it very broad, because speaking of baby boomers, I don't know how many millions of baby boomers there are, but you will have too large of a market, and the larger the market, the harder it is to really define it as a slice. So you may want to have baby boomers in this industry or on this topic. So that's the third way. The fourth one is similar to industry and demographic, and that's niching by title. So you don't just talk about leadership. You talk about leadership to vice presidents, to CEOs, C-level suite. You focus specifically on the frontline worker. Whatever it is, understand by title or position is another way to niche. So those are 4 ways: by topic, industry, demographic, and title. Now if you just pick one, there's a good chance that you'll end up being too broad still. One way you can counter that is by going very thin slice. So instead of sales, you're doing a very focused cold calling techniques. Instead of being just the IT niche, you're going to be working specifically with startups in the mobile application space. So you can make your niche tight enough where there's enough work for you to get, but it's tight enough where you can be the dominant person in that. You could also combine niches, which is a very popular way of doing it. So my friend Michael Goldberg speaks about networking for financial professionals. By adding a double niche, he's sliced it down enough where he's the expert to this group. So you can start combining ideas. There's picking a niche is as much an art as a science. There's no specific, you want to have a niche that has 1 million users. You have to play with it. You have to look at what other speakers are doing. If you do searches and find out, wow, there's 500 other speakers on leadership for financial professionals, then you may want to thin slice it more. If there's only 1 or 2, then that might be a good niche to pick. So start with those 4, start playing around, start slicing it down smaller and smaller, and start combining them, and that will get you started. And remember, like many things in the speaking business, this is a starting point. Just because you pick a niche to focus on now doesn't mean it's going to last forever. But you start now and then make adjustments as you go. For more information, as well as the free downloadable PDF, the 7 steps to getting paid speaking work in the next 90 days, be sure to visit SpeakingExpert.com.